Hello, everybody. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to get started here. We'll give it another, say, 30 seconds or so for people to jump on. Bit of a last-minute live stream. It was reverse split day, so come on. We'll take a look at the chart, what to expect, do a little bit of an analysis, and just dissect the 1 for 10 reverse split. We got Anthony in the house. Welcome, welcome. Tilray may dip toward the $5 range before rebounding on strong news and developments in 2026. The movement seems intentional and strategic. Stay patient and trust the plan. Yeah, I would say it's probably a 2026 thing for sure. Good evening. Thank you for joining, Anthony. I see we have, whoa, I was going to say we had like a dozen and then it went to like 3 dozen. So, always a crowd for Tilray. And I've said this many times. Tilray is blessed with the best MJ community on the planet. And, we know that, this company is no ordinary company, and we know that we're no ordinary community. I really do appreciate all the support. I really do. I don't even know what to say. The last few days have been pretty crazy, and when I come on here, I generally don't know what I'm gonna even talk about half the time. So, I just want to be as real and honest with everybody as possible. And the last couple of days have been, really, it's been almost a week now. It's been pretty rough, and it's not just rough on me, it's rough on a lot of people. And like I said, the reason why I'm so passionate, it's not even because I'm down money. Like, obviously I'm in the red on my Tillray position, but that's not why I'm mad. I was mad at like a whole myriad of different things. It was lack of reform in the US and all the nonsense that's going over there, and I seen what's going on with crypto, and I see what's going on with MJ. And I just posted a video yesterday about regulatory capture, and I've been talking about this on the channel for many years now at this point, how the whole reason why they're stalling with any kind of progress is because they're trying to slow the industry down so that the incumbents, the big pharmas, alcohols, tobaccos of the world, can get their filthy paws all over it. And they continue to entrench their dirty, filthy tentacles all over the sector, and it's just going to be the way it is, unfortunately. And the only silver lining to everything is that the fact that all these big tobacco companies, alcohol companies, and pharma companies are getting into the space, that tells us that the lobbying efforts against anti-legalization is probably coming to an end, and we're probably a couple of years out from full-blown legalization. I think it's probably a 2028, 2030 thing. But and I know that's not what many people want to hear, but I mean, you have to think about it. We're still on Schedule 1 with heroin. We got to go to Schedule 3. We got to get safer banking. We got to get uplisting in the NYSE and the NASDAQ. It's going to take a while before we get to full-blown legalization. Maybe we get the Supreme Court case, and that kind of gets us halfway there, and it lights a fire under these policymakers' asses, and they do something. Imagine that. They actually do what they were set out to do and craft laws, sensible laws for regulations for industries that the majority of people want. And the majority of people want it. It's just, unfortunately, they do not work for the people anymore. It's all career politicians and their own agendas. So, and their constituents and their lobbyists, of course, right? So anyway, I can always go on for an hour about any kind of side topic, and it's easy to get distracted. But see, we have a lot of people joining and tons of people commenting. I don't have a whole lot of time today, so we're just gonna give it another few seconds. We'll jump right into it. I'm just gonna smash a drink of water here. What's going on, Bilal? What's up? Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. This reverse split sucks, but it is what it is. We move on. Buying more. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. Hey, Jam. Hello. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And you never want to see any company have to do a reverse split if they don't have to. At the end of the day, it's nothing majorly different that has changed, right? It's just an accounting trick. Market cap stays the same. Yes, our shares go down, but the price goes up. Therefore, the intrinsic value, the net asset value of your investment stays the same, right? But it's still not good. So we'll go through it. we'll dissect everything that happened today here. We're still looking at $6.76 as the target, so spoiler alert. But we'll jump right to it. As always, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And I do own Tilray. I still own Tilray. I haven't sold a share. I've actually bought more. It was late Friday last week. I didn't buy any today or anything like that. But, at this point, I'm just even more confident in my thesis. Wait until crypto's done. Once I rotate 80 to 90% of my crypto, once I sell 80 to 90%, I'll hold probably 10, 20% long term, maybe some forever. But of that 80 to 90% that I look to take profits on over the next couple of months and into the first, second quarter of 2026, of those profits, I'm going to probably take 10 to 20% of those profits and put them into more MJ. And that's going to be a very large amount, just even at 10 to 20%, because I have a lot of capital in the crypto space. And, I see so many people, that say they have 100,000 shares of Tilray or 50,000 shares of Tilray or this much or that much. And, the first thing I think of is I hope that your net worth is at least like 10 times more than that, right? Because you should never put any more than 5 to 10% of your net worth into one sector, let alone, unless it's real estate, but let alone one stock within a sector, right? So that's the rule of thumb. And, I have a lot less than that. I do not have a very large, to some people, they're like, oh, that's huge. But to me, and my net worth, it's not even, like, if my Tilray position were to drop 50%, like if it were to, so for example, my Tilray position my average is around 130, 140. It was at $2.30 not too long ago. I was well in the green, and here we are back down 77 cents, not factoring in the split. So I'm back well in the red again. But again, we could drop another 50% from here and I wouldn't care, because in the grand scheme of things, like my whole entire net worth, my crypto portfolio, my real estate portfolio, all my other investments and positions, a 50% drop in my Tilray value or position wouldn't even faze me, right? Like in the grand scheme of things. So you have to not risk any more money than you're willing to lose. And if you did, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, well, thanks there, Captain Obvious, or thanks, why didn't you tell me this before I invested the money? But maybe you just tuned into my video yesterday. Maybe you just found me today. I don't know. But at the end of the day, what I've learned is, even if I tell people, when it's not financial advice, I'm just telling you my thoughts and opinions, and I can say, hey, if I were in your shoes. But, even if I tell people, like, hey, this is what I would do in your shoes, 9 times out of 10, if not 99 times out of 100, people are just not going to listen. And if you're new, everybody comes in and they think they're a genius, right? You're in a bull market, everybody thinks they're a genius until you enter a bear market, and then everybody leaves and never comes back, right? So, as much as I tell people something, and I was the same way when I first started, I was told, and I was learning, I was studying, I was like, oh, no, I got this, right? And I ended up losing my whole account. I blew up my whole account. And then I had a crypto account. I lost all my crypto to Quadriga. It was a Ponzi scheme, and the company went under and took all my money with them. But, at the end of the day, I decided to put all my money on that exchange, and I take responsibility for that, and it'll never, ever happen again. And I'm glad that I learned that lesson with a 5-figure portfolio, now that I have a 6-figure plus portfolio in crypto, and I'll never make that mistake ever again. So I learned my lesson. That's why I recommend starting with a small amount. Even if you have a net worth of $1 million, if you're not used to MJ or investing in a new disruptive industry, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You should start low and go slow, like they say with the government and MJ consumption, right? It will it'll eat you up, spit you out, and eat you back up again. That's what the market is designed to do. So, I don't even know where I left off. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter handle for that, @GroupPow. So I mentioned we were looking at 67 cents was the bear flag target. So factor in post split, times that by 10, you get $6.70. So 6.76 is the target. Today, as you can see, we did our 1 for 10 reverse split. The stock was up like 900%, 1,000% at one point, and I said, don't get too concerned about that. If you wake up and you see 1,000% gain, it's probably because we didn't see the chart update. And then on the weekly time frame, we had a ton of POW algo alerts go off. It was false positives, because you can see on the daily time the chart looks right, but on the weekly time frame, the low is still 77 cents. So the low is still the pre-split price, even though it's showing 771. So it's a glitch in, I don't know if it's a NASDAQ glitch, a trading view glitch. But anyways, it fired off a bunch of false positives in the Powell algo alert because of that, because of the glitch on trading view or NASDAQ. Definitely not a glitch in the algo alerts. It's as you can see, it's right there, clear as day on trading view. So today we had a pretty wild day of trading. Overall, it was a pretty indecisive day of trading. We have a bit of a doji here, but closed near the low of the day, closed near the low of the body, and closed near the closer to the low of the day today. So that's, I would say, bearish overall. And Tilray, and CDC still has yet to enact its second reverse split, which it's already been approved. It's more than likely going to happen. So with that being the case, and crypto still being at the spotlight, I don't expect, like I said, I said today in the Power Group private community to a couple of members that I think the best case scenario is we see rescheduling at some point between now and, call it, end of April. I think that's a realistic timeline. I can't see them announcing anything before crypto legislation. And Paul Atkins came out today, the chair of the SEC, and basically was talking about how they want to get the TLRY Act done, and continues to focus on tokenization, which is all blockchain crypto related. So I just can't see them coming out and dropping a bombshell with regards to MJ. Maybe I'm wrong, but I certainly don't expect them to do major policy changes until crypto is done. And this just adds more confidence to the fact that we're more than likely going to see more downside from here. And this is part of the reason why I was so upset about the timing of everything, how everything was done, is because when they first announced a reverse split, if they would have opened the next day, we would have been at $10, right? Or whatever sell pressure we would have saw that day. Who knows? But during the pre-action, but we would have essentially opened around $1. But today we opened at $7.80. So that $10 is now into $7, right? And then the low of the day, we're at $7.17. We could be into the 6s tomorrow, and then the next day we're into the 5s, and then the next day we're below 5s, and then the whole thing was for institutional investors because they can buy at $5 and above. We're 2 days out or a day out from being at $5 or below again, right? So that was my concern, and all of the timing, and here we are. We're $2 away from $5. So we're $2 away from being out of the spotlight with regards to institutional investors again. That's why I was upset. That's why I didn't like the way it was timed. And I did speak to the Tillray team yesterday. So I had a conversation. I had a phone call with the Tilray team about 35 minutes long. And I expressed my concerns. I thought it was really cool of them to meet with me, especially with the weekend. I didn't send them an email till late Friday, and then they met with me on Monday. So very quick turnaround time. They seemed very concerned, and they valued my opinion, and they valued everybody else's opinion as a shareholder. I don't really know where I sit with everything at this point. I'm still kind of mulling it over. I think I'm just going to sit on the sidelines for now and see how things shake out, right? Words are one thing, actions are another. So I would like to see actions, right? I've heard the words. I even received an apology. So that was awesome. And they apologized to all retail investors if they blindsided anybody. So again, the first step to admitting you have a problem is, the first step to fixing a problem is admitting you have one. So, everybody can make what they will of that. But at the end of the day, no one's perfect. And I said this from the get-go, right? If I was the CEO of Tillray, I'm sure I'd do a million things wrong as well. But it's when multiple things happen in a short period of time. And as we know, people remember the bad things, not the good things. And especially if a few bad things happen quick enough, right? If it happens in a fast enough order, people really get upset. And when you're talking about people's money, their hard-earned money, right, invested into something, you can say, hey, you shouldn't have invested, or you should have thicker skin, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we are owners of this company as well. I've had so many people tell me I shouldn't do this, or I should have done this, or well, I would say 99% of people agreed with me with the course of action that I took and my reaction. I would say 99% of people that I spoke to agree with me. I would say 1% of people didn't agree with what I said or my reaction was. So I'm going to side with the 99% of people, right? Why am I going to think I'm weird when 99% of people agree with me and then the 1% of people think I'm crazy, right? So obviously I'm going to side with the 99% of people, and it's probably the 1% who think I'm crazy that are actually crazy. So, don't really care about the 1%. And don't really care, frankly, about majorities anyway. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do because I can't sleep at night unless I do what I'm going to do and what I want to do, right? What I say I'm going to do, what's right to me, what my values are, right? I'm not here for clicks. I'm not here for views. I'm not here for subscribers. I'm not here to win friends. I'm here to, change my family's lives, right? Like my life has already changed just because of crypto in the last 5 to 10 years. But with crypto over the next couple of decades and MJ coupled with that, and my real estate portfolio, like I'm working for my whole family and then my future family. That's what I'm focused on at this point. And at the end of the day, I don't even know. I kind of lost my train of thought there. My daughter was crying in the background. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And it's, I forget where, I was really going to say something and I completely forget now. It had to do with the fact that my reaction, it's not because I'm losing money that I'm getting is because I'm getting upset or overreacting. It's because I care, and the timing of everything, right? When a few things happen back to back, it's really easy. I mean, like, think about it this way, right? Think about all the momentum that we had in the stock leading up to the earnings. Even the people who are long-term bullish in this company were like, I'm still skeptical. We're at $1. We're at $1.30 factoring in pre-split. And then, even the bulls are skeptical. And then, the shorts are just piling in, foaming at the mouth, waiting for their next chance to feed. And then the great earnings come out and the shorts get trapped even more. And at this point, I think there was close to like a 20% float that was short. And then right after the earnings, you get the ATM tapping, right? The $50 million worth of shares. So you have to think, all the people who are piling in, and you might have even had a bunch of people piling in on the day of that earnings, right? Like, look at that earnings. We had a huge beat, right? Positive net income. Even people probably FOMO'd in that day and bought who didn't already buy. They're like, you know what? This is a great earnings report. I'm in. And then the next day, we get a dilution. That's going to absolutely, like, just tick everybody off, right? Even the bulls, even the people who entered the day before long. And then the people who entered back here or who have been entering for a while, they might be like, oh, well, or the traders who say, hey, I'm up 100%. I'm going to exit because the dilution just came and we're probably heading back down, right? But it also fuels the shorts. So the shorts say, oh my God, we're super extended. We're daily, weekly overbought on the RSI. We finally print a good report and then dilution. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to pounce as well. So then you get the people who are frustrated from the bulls who are we're going up. We finally have momentum. We have a good earnings report. I buy it, and then dilution, and then they sell because they're mad, or they entered late, or they're just fed up. They're frustrated. Finally get some momentum, some good news, and then bad news, right? And then the shorts pile in on top of that. So that's what I really didn't like about that. And then the reverse split happens. So I shared all these concerns with Tilray, and like I said, at this point, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and see how things progress from here. If I see the words backed up by actions, and instead of seeing 3 or 4 things strung together that are absolutely terrible, that make me want to cringe, if 3 or 4 things keep happening that I think is awesome, and the timing of the press releases, the communications to investors, all that thing improves, then okay, maybe we'll get back to square one. But at this point, I can't support what has happened at this point. Like, obviously I still love the company. I still invest in the company. I still, I bought on Friday. I didn't buy today or yesterday, but I'm still a bull, and I haven't sold any shares. I still believe in Tilray. I still believe in the company. I still believe in the brands, the products. I'm a forever user of their products. Can't live without them. And yeah, like I said, I need to see actions at this point. But I really do appreciate the conversation that I had with Tilray, and the fact that they just didn't brush me off like 99% of other companies. I thought that spoke volumes. But at the end of the day, again, we need to see clear actions. And excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice here a little bit. Let's see if some water helps. But yeah, I did a live stream for Power Group Private Community members today, and then I did another video, and yeah, it's been crazy. All right, so we jump through. I don't have a whole lot of time, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we did trend back down to around that 676, maybe to $5. Again, I really do not hope so. I did express my concerns as well. If it were me, I would have just did the 1 for 20 reverse split, to be honest. And I know a lot of people probably wouldn't be okay with that, or want that. But what about now? I mean, we were almost into the sixes today, and the whole point of doing a reverse split, so we were at $10 just so that we'd be over $5. So the day of the split, we almost hit 6. So you're $1 away from flirting with not being able to appeal to institutions again. Why not just do the 1 for 20? ACB, Aurora, has already done 2 reverse splits, a 1 for 12 and a 1 for 10. Canopy did a 1 for 10. Sound familiar? And then they're looking to do a second one. So, and I would argue their timings was way worse, right? The sector continued to bleed out, but why not just do the 1 for 20 and then maybe never have to do another reverse split again, and hopefully we never have to dilute again. They did say that was not their intention, but again, I need actions. So I love the fact that they met with me. They responded to me right away. They continue to support us, and how can you not, though, right? This is the best community in all of MJ. There's not even a second close. Look at all these names: ACB, Avacan, AYR. You got BAM, CGC, CL, Cron, Cura, GTBIF. Not to say that none of them are great companies. High Tide, OGI, but no, I've never seen a stock like this much interest in the MJ industry. It reminds me of Tesla. I've never seen that much interest before. And the difference is with Tesla, it was the head honcho. It was the leader of the sector. It was always the leader, and probably always will be. Whereas the MJ sector has so many companies, and I wouldn't say that you could really say one's a de facto leader. But yeah, if I made a video about any of these MJ companies, Tilray would get 4, if not maybe even double digits times the amount of views, right? Most videos would get 200, 400 max. And Tilray will get 3,000, 2,000 on average. That tells you that it's the best MJ community. And you even got AI making videos on Tilray now. You get the AI voices making videos on Tilray because they know how much interest there is, right? Nice spike before the pullback. Yeah, so it was up 25% today off the low. But what I said was, let's bring up my screen here. I said to this Power Group Private Community, I said, we're still in a daily downtrend. We just barely started the daily bounce. Unless we get over really $10, there's nothing to see here. And then after $10, you got 10.60 resistance there on the price action. So Yeah, and then we closed right pretty much where we opened. So I would be leaning bearish into tomorrow, and yeah, it just sucks that we're at the mercy of the U.S. government, right? Because now, as I said before, no news is bad news. If we don't get rescheduling or better, we're at the mercy of the U.S. government to announce rescheduling to Schedule 3 or better, a better catalyst or outcome. I mean, what could go wrong relying on the U.S. government, right? I don't have a good feeling about it, folks, especially with crypto legislation still yet to be done. That's the focus. That was the focus again today. All these crypto ETFs are getting launched. Same demographic invest in MJ that invests in crypto. I'm putting all my money in crypto. I'm not putting my money in MJ really. So if I'm doing that and I run an MJ-centric channel, what do you think somebody's doing who isn't running an MJ-centric channel, right? So again, got to call a spade a spade. But yeah. It could have been that 1 for 20 reverse split. Yeah, exactly, Anthony. That's what I said. Are you saying it would have been worse? Honestly, I think that probably would have been better to just get it out of the way, not follow in the footsteps of Aurora and Canopy Growth, where they're doing a second reverse split. Imagine if we do a 1 for 10 and we just hit $7 today on the first day. Tomorrow we hit 6, the next day we hit 5, the next day we're not appealing to institutions, which is quote unquote the reason why we did it in the first place. That would suck. That would not be good. And then we have to do another reverse split similar to Aurora and Canopy Growth. Yeah. The nasty comments would be, this would make it look like a walk in the park, right? Real Misty says sweater and flops came in. Appreciate it, Rod. Didn't know you ordered that, Real Misty, but yeah, I don't fulfill them or anything. It's an affiliate. So, like for example, Amazon has affiliates, so you can you could buy something on my website that's from Amazon that is affiliate, but Amazon fulfills it. So it's kind of the same thing. The third party fulfills it, but yeah, I do all the design and everything myself, and yeah. What do you think of the sweater and the flops? The flops are on my list. I haven't got them yet, but I'd love to. They look awesome. Thanks for the research and time you put into the sector, Rod. It's very much noticed and appreciated. Thank you, BJ. I appreciate it. And it's I've had, it's like even some long-term followers that I've had who claim that I'm a good guy and all this stuff. They just flipped on a dime on me, and everybody has their own opinions, but it's just weird to me that like all I'm doing is standing up for retail investors. And I think one thing that people don't understand as well is this is my company too. I own a piece of it, right? I own stock. That means I own shares in the company. So for people to talk to me like, I don't matter and my opinion doesn't matter, you're whining, right? You're overreacting. Like, I treat this like my own company to a certain extent, right? Because I own a piece of it, right? It's not like my company, like, POW Group. But I think that's something that people don't really understand is we have every right to say whatever it is that we want to say, as long as we're being respectful and, not attacking. Don't be sending threats. That's not okay. That's criminal, right? So I really appreciate all the support because, like I said, 99% of you have supported me even in the last few days, and 99% of people agree with me. 1% don't. Of that 1%, some people are like, hey, I see what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree. This is why I don't agree. Let's still be friends. Other people decide to threats. They say threats to me. They call me names. They insult me. But, it's only 1% of a 99, so am I really going to lose any sleep over it? Even if it was 99% of people telling me I'm awful and a terrible person, don't really care, because I know that that's not my intention, and that I have every good intention. So, again, one person was commenting on my video the other day. 4 hours of whining. There's nothing more than I hate than tuning into a video and listen to somebody whine and complain for multiple hours about the same thing. I'm just laughing. Just like, so you hit the play button. You're watching for multiple hours. And then you're complaining about me complaining. So you're a total hypocrite. But what are you doing to advance things? You're just being a dick. You're just being an ass. I'm actually standing up for my fellow retail investors and myself, because I am one. And then I'm going to the company with my concerns, and I'm meeting with the company, and I'm telling them what I saw wrong with the situation and hopefully seeking change, right? Versus these keyboard warriors coming on my channel, writing a comment, bad-mouthing me, and nobody told you to click the play button. Very simple. Nothing more than I hate listening to. Well, did you realize you clicked the play button, right? So why are you complaining? And you're saying I'm complaining and you hate that I'm complaining. And then you're complaining that I'm complaining. It's like, who's really the dumbass in this situation, right? It's pretty ridiculous. Also, Real Misty, shoot us over an email if you can, of the new swag. Tilray is going to hell. I disagree with that, Marcel, but it's been hell so far. Anthony, you're awesome, Rod. So are you, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Says no way, man. Marcel, it's not about money. It's about, and it's not Tilray fault. I don't know about that. I don't even really understand. You say Tilray's going to hell, and then you say it's not really about money. It's not really Tilray's fault. I don't follow the thought process there. It's a battle of war. Yeah, at the end of the day, you got to call a spade a spade. So the industry has been brutal, right? Even high excise tax in Canada. They've been slow to roll out multi-packs of drinks and 10 milligram edibles. It's all stuck at 10. And there's ways around it now. They're putting 10 milligram packs, 10 times 10 milligrams, right? So you get the 100 milligram. And then you got the U.S., just a complete gong show of and again, watch the video from yesterday. If you haven't seen this video, you have to go watch it. If you've ever wondered why MJ is taking so long to get legalized, if you ever wonder why crypto took so long for the government to do something and why they're still taking so long, why the promise for legalization is always right on the horizon, and why crypto clarity is always promised but never delivered, watch this video. It's probably the most important video you'll ever watch pertaining to MJ and crypto. Maybe it's the most important video you ever watch. I try to make it make sense, because that's the number one concern of everybody right now is, why is it taking so long? Why is it that 80 to 90% of American citizens want it legalized, and the U.S. government won't even talk about it or do anything about it for the last 10 years, right? Watch this video. It's called Regulatory Capture and Incumbents. And it's like I've been saying for years on this channel. Crypto, it's the big banks, the Wall Street banks, the payment processors, and in MJ, it's big pharma, big tobacco, and big alcohol, and even the private prisons and forfeiture organizations. So confusion and purgatory is good for them, and it's also good for the revolving door aspect. Again, watch that. You need to see it. But yeah, it's a combination of many things. It's could Tilray have been in a way worse position if they didn't diversify into some of the alcohol brands? For sure. Could they have been in a better position if the U.S. did something? Absolutely. Could they be in a better position if more countries around the world legalized, or Canada cut excise tax? Yeah, but at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control, and then from there, that's where we have to focus on accountability and responsibility. And that's why I was so upset over the last couple of days, is because I didn't see that. And these were things that we can control And, they even said, like, they learned a lot over the last few days. I won't go into every single thing that was said. But at this point, if you wonder where I'm at with everything, obviously I was very heated. I was very passionate. I was very upset. And a lot of it isn't because of my own personal loss or gain. It's because I see everything that people are going through. And again, it's one thing if you had no other choice, but I could have thought of 5 or 10 different ways that we could have gone about this. So that at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. First step to fixing a problem is admitting you have one, and then reassure people through words, and then follow up with actions. And that's ultimately how you rebuild trust. So, like I said, at this point, I'm still a Tilray bull, and I bought last Friday. I'm gonna continue to, the money that I have in the company, it is what it is. I'm there. It's sitting there. I'm diversified within and outside the sector. Until I see meaningful change, I may not look to buy more, unless we crater down to an obscenely low level. But yeah, I have a lot to. I'm still kind of pondering everything, and like I said, I don't want to support bad behavior, and until I see correcting of that, and not just words through actions, and continued actions, not just one. I would like to see a string of actions, right? We had multiple things that the retail investor community was very upset about, back to back to back. So it'd be great if we could have 2 or 3 positive catalysts back to back to back to, like I said, regain that trust. So that is that. This reverse split sucks. Yeah, I already read that one. Buying more. It's time to start dollar cost buying, brother. Yeah, I've been doing that for a while, but like I said, I my focus right now is crypto. I've made more money in crypto than in any other investment that I've ever made, with very little risk. You might think, like, well, why is that? It's because I only invested any amount that I was willing to lose, and you don't need to invest a lot of money in crypto to make a lot of money, right? Look at Bitcoin, went from like a couple of cents to $100 and some thousand, right, in like a decade. So probably the best performing asset ever. And I would say it's the dial-up internet, right? It's not even the good one. It's just the first, right? The real Googles and Apples and Amazons of the crypto world and blockchain world are coming soon. We just don't know who they are yet, but I have a pretty good idea. And it's an exciting time. And, I own MJ. I'm ready if the ship takes off, but I'm also ready to buy the dip with more crypto portfolio profits. And again, it's a very simple equation, right? It's just simple calculus. How much is the crypto industry worth today, or last year, or 5 years ago, or whatever? And what is the futuristic outlook? So if you looked at MJ 5 years ago, the market cap, what would be in, I don't even know, like lucky to be 100 billion globally. I think since Canada legalized, it's only brought in like 5 billion or something to the GDP or something. So it's not like a crazy amount. But if you looked at crypto 5 years ago, what was it at? Half a trillion, maybe a trillion. Today we're at, a few trillion. So when you look at crypto 5 years ago versus MJ 5 years ago, crypto is going to 50 to 100 trillion with a T, right? Trillion is in tango. MJ will be lucky to get to 1 trillion. So if crypto is going to 50 to 100 trillion, that means it's 50 to 100 times more lucrative than MJ, right? In terms of total addressable market and overall value. It's not to say that you can't make the same percentage gains, right? If you buy a stock at a penny, like Oxley, for example, I bought tons of times at a penny. If that thing goes to $1, that's 100x. If it goes to $2, that's 200x, right? That's $1,000 investment into a couple $100,000. That's pretty good, right? But you can do that with crypto as well. But the reason why the government is focusing on crypto is because of the fact that it's 100 times a bigger sector. It's It's a bigger industry, 100 times bigger of an industry, right? But MJ will be big as well. Tilray will survive. I have confidence. I totally agree. You're right. The fundamental hasn't changed. The company is still a great company. I agree. I wish we could get a journalist to ask some MJ questions to the White House. Again, it doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't matter. Watch the video from yesterday about the most important video you'll ever watch. It's regulatory capture. They do this with every new industry. There was a Joe Rogan podcast with Mark Andreessen saying they're thinking about starting an AI company, and they said, "Oh, don't even bother. We got 2 or 3 that we're going to pick." Government said this. We got 2 or 3 we're going to pick, and you might as well not even bother. Like we'll just, yeah, there's no point. We'll sue the hell out of oblivion, and you'll just no. You're like, even Tesla said we would be bankrupt if it wasn't for us bending the knee to the SEC, right? They do this with every new industry. But the great thing about regulatory capture and the hostility from the regulators generally means that they know that this is going to be big. They know it's going to be massive. So why would they try so hard to slow it down? So that the incumbents, right, in MJ's case, big alcohol, big pharma, big tobacco, can get caught up. Like I said, 3 years ago, I used to work for a pharmaceutical company, multi-billion-dollar company. Got fined billions of dollars in the opioid crisis. They talked about CBD for 2 years straight after. Why? Because they know it's a great alternative, and they're not going to get fined billions of dollars for it, and it's healthy. It's way better than addictive opioids, right? So if that's the case, again, it's huge business, and every single one of them wants to dominate it. And that's why they get their government friends involved, like Tim Draper said. First they laugh at you, then they ignore you, then they fight you, then you win. And they get their government friends involved, and oh my God, there's no way we're letting this happen. You know, I'm going to get my government friends involved, we're going to lobby, we're going to and then, oh God, this is happening. Oh God. And then they do the press planning. And then they, so they get the lawsuits. What do we have now? We have a lawsuit coming up. Right? It's literally the playbook. It's a perfect blueprint. And it's been the same in MJ and crypto, same it was in tech, same as it was in the electric vehicle. AI is going through the same thing. My average is 1057 now. I expect a bigger drop, and I'll look to add more. Yeah, at this point, it's dire straits. I don't know. we just need crypto to top out and crypto legislation to get underway, and then that's more than likely happening over the next couple months, I would think. And then perfect time for them to pivot over to MJ policy right ahead of the midterms, right? Especially when they say promises made, promises kept, and this is one of their promises on the campaign trail. And again, not favoring any party, so get your nonsensical political ideals out of here. From Canada, I don't care. I hate them all. And I'm not just talking about your government. I hate all governments. Jeez, I got to be careful what I say. It's like, he said he hates he said he hates our government. It's like, no, all government. Oh, okay. If he hates everything, that's fine. So funny. But yeah, I don't even know what I was saying. It's gonna, they're gonna pivot over to MJ policy, and it'll be perfect right ahead of the midterms. And then, oh yeah, if they don't steal this issue from the Dems, like everybody's saying they should, and they easily could, then it's going to hurt them even more, because not only do they not steal it, people are going to be pissed off that they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And it's going to be like a double whammy, essentially. So, yeah, I'm very confident it's going to happen at some point between now and April. And again, that lines up perfectly with crypto legislation. Once Clarity Act's done for crypto, that's it. There's no more to legislate. Maybe the anti-CBDC bill, but that's basically nothing. That's like 1% of it all. The Clarity Act's like 89% of it. Genius Act was a big 10%. Hi, friends. Welcome, welcome. How you doing? Zad Keel. Hope you're well. As long as Tilray doesn't reverse split again or dilute long-term, investors will be fine. Yeah, well, again, That's why I was concerned about the way everything was done and the timing and just the strategy of everything is because, yeah, when they first announced it, we would have been $10. Now we opened at 7, could be at 6 tomorrow, 5 the next day. We're not appealing to institutions. Shorts pile in. Next thing you know, we're at $1. Shorts pile in. Next thing you know, we're reverse splitting again. You know, I would have just did the 1 for 20 and said the hell with it. But again, I'm not trying to say I know everything or anything like that. I'm just, I don't know. I hope they know what they're doing. That's all. Well, you have lots, but some people only have little. Exactly. And you have to understand that this is, it's just money. Like I said, there's no reason to be doing threats or anything like that. All you need is $14 to break even, Rod. Yeah, honestly, I don't even care. Like, my whole crypto portfolio it has been so great over the last decade that, like, my whole MJ portfolio could go to zero and never come back, and I wouldn't even care. Like, I'd be, and then I have my real estate portfolio, and I have all these other investments. So, like, again, you really can't, like, I understand the saying, like, don't fall in love with a company or whatever. It's fine to fall in love with a company. Like Warren Buffett said it best, like, find great companies and marry them, right? Hold them forever. Get the dividends and, borrow against it and all this stuff. Most people who say that are day traders or traders, and they don't understand true wealth creation. So, and day traders, like, basically at the core are very, like, they're not really independent, right? They're always on the they don't sit on the computer and do their trades every day. They're not making any money, right? So, and you're basically a slave to the computer at that point. And I'm on the computer enough. I want to be off the computer more. So, like I said, if I was day trading XRP over the last 10 years, I'd have been hating my life, right? Because it's just a crazy asset. But instead of just driving myself crazy, I just went heavy at 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents. And here we are now at $2.20. And my life has changed because of that, right? And it's just getting started. And I know everybody's probably thinking, like, why do you keep talking about crypto? Like, 80 to 90% of us don't own crypto. But I'm just trying to tell you, like, next time when you feel the need to go heavy on a certain stock or a certain sector, learn how to learn how to evaluate it. Like, what sectors are popular? What are the policymakers are talking about 24/7, 365? What are governments around the world focusing on? If you compare MJ focus and reform around the world to crypto, it's not even comparable, right? Like, it's 99% crypto talk, right? So why are we going to be bullish on MJ? Yes, you want to be bullish on MJ. We're at the lows. You want to buy the lows, buy the blood in the streets, but you need to expect multiple years before, we're getting back into any kind of hype mode. And to be honest, it's probably going to be 2028, 2030 before we see full-blown federal legalization. Rescheduling will probably be the first domino. 676, wow, and probably back to 90 cents. Yeah, I doubt that, but anything's possible. We have still to drop 50% to be at an all-time low. We hit 35 cents before and shot up to 250. Yeah, it was 232. Yeah, dog eat dog world. Yeah. Tillray still diving. Yeah, it probably will. Again, we're in the hands of the U.S. government, so what could go wrong? Well, Trump means hem rounds. I'm not sure what that means. Everything was a cluster F. Been screaming about this possible yet imminent scenario. Yeah, it was always a possibility. It's just the way it was done, I think, blindsided people. They were very upset about that. Me Too sidelines for the next month, probably putting buy orders at the lowest Fibonacci rings. It's the global crash time. Well, again, like I said, Zadkiel, like I haven't sold any Tilray shares. I'm just not buying any more. I'm not going to be, running to support management and do interviews at the moment. Like, I need some time. I need to get my head in order. It's not. I'm not rethinking my Tilray investment. I'm rethinking, you know, the all the other things, right? Like the leadership, and again, I think it was great that I spoke with them. I really appreciated everything that they did. I think they're a stand-up, management team in terms of, doing what they say they're going to do. But, they never told us that they weren't going to reverse split or anything like that. So it's not the end of the world. They didn't say they weren't going to do it. But it's also, again, just the timing of everything and how everything was done. And I need to see a few months or a few catalysts, a few events that, the management reacts to, and I'll see how they react to it. And if I start to see improvements, then okay, like there's nothing more than I want. There's nothing more I want than to see Tilray succeed and their management to succeed. And I definitely don't want them getting any nasty threats. I don't want them, having a terrible Thanksgiving and all this stuff because of nasty threats coming their way. I want everybody to do well, and I want everybody to succeed, and I want everyone here to succeed. And I love this industry, right? I'm not only here to talk and to help people and educate people and give my thoughts and opinions. I also love this industry. I love following it. I love covering. I love trying new products. I love following the industry. I love looking at the new innovations. I just love everything about this industry. It's my passion. So it's not really even work to me. It's fun, and it's a hobby. And I mentioned to my Power Group private community members that I was a little torn because I love Tilray, like interviewing Tilray. I love following the story. I love asking them questions and interviewing them. But I also don't want to interview them if I don't feel like, they deserve it. And yeah, like I said, it's bittersweet. It's I'm torn. Part of me is like, okay, I have to stick up for myself and I have to do the right thing. But part of me is like, man, like why? Why does it have to be this way? Like I still want to cover Tillray, right? And I always will. And at the end of the day, no one lives forever either, right? You're not going to have the same CEO forever. You're not going to have the same management team forever. Anyways. Who are we kidding, guys? We all know in our hearts this will be $1 by July, August. I don't know. I don't think so, but like I said, anything's possible. My expectation is some turnaround will. Yeah, like I said, we're at the mercy. The U.S. government basically has this industry by the balls, right? If we don't get rescheduling to Schedule 3 or better outcome, it's not good. The only thing better than a rescheduling to Schedule 3 would be arguably maybe safer banking, uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, but how the hell are those going to happen without rescheduling? I don't see that happening. Or full-blown legalization or Canadian excise tax or some other country legalizing it. But look, like Germany legalized and then Italy and then France and like no one cares. Everybody cares about the U.S. Even the people who don't live in the U.S. care about the U.S. So it's we literally are at the mercy of the U.S. government, which absolutely is petrifying because what could go wrong? A lot. Imagine, hold your breath till the U.S. government does something. Okay. Be dead right away. Took them, almost a decade and a half, 2 decades to do something with crypto, and they still haven't figured it out. And every second word out of the new government's mouth is blockchain, AI, and crypto. So if every second word isn't MJ, how much longer do you think it's going to take to see MJ policy reform at a major level? Probably going to be a while, right? If it's every second word of the new administration's mouth is crypto, blockchain, and AI, and it's taken this long to do crypto, and all they can talk about is crypto, well, how long do you think it's going to take for MJ when they're not even talking about it? Hope so. When the banking happens, when all the political and banking events happen, that's when we'll see the turnaround. Yeah. You might be weird and crazy, homie, but far as Tilray, XRP, and TA, you're spot on. And I'm most definitely on board with your frustration. Well, thank you, Cash Bonds. I appreciate it. The World Cup starts, says Jam, on June 11th. I expect reform to happen before then, and definitely before midterms. Absolutely. And then you have to think, too, crypto legislation is probably going to be done around the same time. And great time for them to switch over to MJ policy. What will the new floor likely be after rescheduling gets announced? I don't know. I don't even really know if I understand your question there, Ryan. Like on Tilray, on the sector. Yeah, I mean, that you'd require a crystal ball, I think, to answer that question. Tilray ticker should be changed to TRSH trash. Yeah, I know it's frustrating, and yeah, I know everybody's upset. So I lost my spot here again. Selling now for me is just too big of a loss. I have to wait for a turnaround. Yeah, well, yeah. You also have to ask yourself too, why are you selling, right? Was that your plan all along? Most of the time, if you're thinking of selling and you weren't thinking of selling, you probably invested too much, right? It's usually the number one reason. Don't worry, friends. The institutions will jump in the new year. Yeah, and you have to think too, tax loss harvesting, right? So probably going to be a January thing. And then why are they going to announce? You never know. They could do rescheduling right during tax harvesting just to mess with everybody. Because you're not supposed to if you do tax harvesting, you're supposed to wait 30 days to rebuy the same stock, right? Or else it's nullified, I think. Pretty sure. So if that's the case, imagine if they did rescheduling mid-month and then just mess with everybody. Basically, yeah. Doesn't the government always have our best interests at heart? Oh yeah. Of course they do. Every government around the world loves all their citizens and puts them first and never thinks about their own political motivations. Never. There's zero career politicians. I sold 75% of my shares. They don't have my trust anymore. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Stefan, you have to do what's right for you, and I don't blame you. And it's at this point, it's the ball is in their court to regain people's trust. This company needs somebody that actually understands how markets work. They're absolutely incompetent and trying to be kind, and I am trying to be kind. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, you need to be speaking more with analysts, more with retail investors, consultants. I don't know. At this point, I don't even really think they need much. Like, they were one of the last companies to do a reverse split. The only other company I think is VFF, and they were given two warnings, two extensions, two regaining organically. So it's not like they didn't have their issues either. But I don't know. Like I said, Tilray was I think they were the last major company to get a warning from the NASDAQ, so that's something to say. But they suffered a similar fate, and that's all I can say. If you really hate Tilray because of what happened, like all the other companies, you should just not even look at them if that's the case, right? Because OGI, High Tide, I don't know if SNDL did one, did they? I think they did. Yeah, SNDL did a 1 for 10 as well. So yeah, SNDL did one. The only one that hasn't done it is VFF, any of the majors on the U.S. major exchange. Oh, maybe Cron. Did Cron do one? No, I don't think Cron did either. So, there's a couple. But I mean, Cron sitting on like almost $1 billion in cash. So like its market cap is 941 million. It's basically its cash holdings. So, it's kind of stupid for that to drop below $1 to be like, okay, let's go buy that up because their cash is worth more than if they were at $1, their market cap would be like 400 million and their cash is 800 and some. Okay, I'm going to go buy that then, right? So, but also Cron doesn't really have a whole lot going on right now. Like they don't really have a, they don't really have a exciting footprint across international. They're not like super high up in the Canadian rec market. And I don't know if they have really anything planned for the US, but obviously they have Altria backing them, so it could easily change. We need $40 a share to make this make any sense, which would be $4. Not crazy to do, right? Make it $80. Yeah, seriously, $80 as soon as my break even comes, I'm out the door. Let's try to hold 676, guys, before these nonsense prices. I remember the days when Tilray was trading at over $100 in 2017. How sad it has become. Yep. Do you think they already have an investor but didn't want to announce it until they split? No, I don't see how that would make any sense, right? Like what? Why would you need a reverse split to announce a merger or something, or a partner? I don't see how that would make any sense. And again, nothing has changed, right? There's been no reform. There's been no rescheduling. Why would some big company want to come in right at, I don't know. It's, I don't think they're going to announce any major deal or anything. I think the most likely scenario is probably going to get reform and rescheduling announcements soon. And then that's going to, send everything parabolic, and then many institutions will flock in because it's no longer Schedule 1 of heroin. And then the optics will be better, the stigmatization will be gone, and then, we'll start to see institutions pile in. But no, I really don't think there's any deal yet. There probably will be a deal at some point. Air in the house, I just joined. Did you already talk about when this might turn around? I'm fortunate enough that the money I've invested and lost thus far, I don't really need for years, hopefully. Yeah, so same thing here. I did kind of talk about it. I think it's going to be, a few months at this point. It's hard to say, right? We're at the end of the day, we're at the mercy of the U.S. government now, so it sucks. A lot can go wrong. Also, what was the reason for it went to $8+ today? Again, when in doubt, zoom out, right? It almost hit the bear flag target and then bounced, but then closed basically where it opened. So we're still in a daily downtrend. Anything on this bounce today, anything under 1060 was still a daily lower high and still in a daily downtrend. So if you're in our daily downtrend and we haven't hit our daily bear flag, we're pretty confident that probably going to see a little bit more downside. We just hit daily oversold. We're not weekly oversold yet. Still could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the weekly. So it's all bears right now. They're having a feast, and they were given a feast on a silver platter. You can't explain it any other way. I mean, great earnings report, daily and weekly overbought, barely any support on the monthly, right? We had no support on the monthly till 35 cents. 232, the next support on the monthly is 35 cents. Bears are looking at that like crazy. Then you have a great earnings report, and bears like, oh, okay, let's just wait. Now that the share price is probably going up, what do you think most people think when the share price is going up after being so low and a company still has debt and just starting to turn profitable? Dilution, right? The next day, dilution. So based on the lack of support, the dilution news, they pile the hell in there, right? And then the people who are bullish and bought on the good earnings report sell because dilution, that pisses them off. People who bought down here lock in profit because they're like, oh, well, dilution pissed me off too. So even the people who bought and are long and that are bullish are now pissed off because there's dilution. And then it's a double whammy, and it's exacerbated because the shorts come in, right? And then once you get closer to $1, then shorts pile in again, right? Let's look here. We had a daily lower high. We had $1.30 on this daily lower high. It ended up being a daily bear flag. That confirmed. And I said we had a target of about 87 cents. And then shorts are piling in there because they know there's going to be another reverse split FUD. And then when the reverse split gets announced, they short it again. And then typically after it gets announced, you drop another 20, 30%. Well, the reverse splits got announced and we dropped 32%, almost 33%. So I think we could see a little bit more downside from here. I wouldn't be surprised to see $6 or $5. But then you're right back into the same mess again. It's like, well, the whole reason why I did this is $5 and above for institutional investors. Now the short's piling at $5, trying to get it knocked down to $4, and then they cover around 2 or 3, and then they enter again at 4, and then they try to get us under $1, and then they cover their positions at 80 cents or 90 cents whenever the reverse split and delisting woes continue, and then the second reverse split gets announced and they short it again, right? It's just a rinse repeat scenario. So until we stop giving them the ammo, still we stop giving them a feast of, a major feast on a silver platter, it's just going to keep happening again. So again, at this point, it is what it is. We move on, and unless we see actions, I don't care. Someone can talk to me until they're blue in the face. Unless I see actions, talk is cheap. So show us. Now's the time to show us. Looks like a dead cat bounce to me. Yeah, it's just a daily lower high. It's still in a daily downtrend. It's nothing. Yep, we're going to print lower lows. I would probably agree with that, yep. Oh, I expect lower lows. Did they offer you any gifts, Rod? No, they sent me some swag, though. Appreciated that. Initially, I tried to... I wanted to get some of the products from the U.S. And I was like, I'll pay for it. And they're like, oh, they tried, and then like custom issues. And then they just sent me some swag instead from Canada. Rod, do you think 676 is strong support? Not super strong. I think it'll probably hit there and then bounce to 730, and then maybe drop to like 5. That'll probably be strong support, but Tilray will go up when gold goes down. Yeah, there's possibly. I think just gold in general is like fiat currencies are basically being devalued into oblivion, right? So it's just hard assets and hard money. If not support Tilray right now, in the meantime, what will you support and analyze? Are you still going to read charts? Yeah, no, like I'll still read charts and I'll still cover Tilray. I don't want to spend hours of my time preparing for an interview and asking all these questions and like going out of my way, right? I'm just going to do my own thing. I don't need to do interviews with these companies. Like that's one thing that people don't understand. I don't get any money from them or anything. Like it doesn't help me any other than my own curiosity and I love this industry and I'm a big investor, so it's cool to be able to ask questions and stuff. But I interviewed Tilray, and after my conversation, I was like, oh, there's no way we're going to do a reverse split. And here we are. We did a reverse split, and it caught me off guard. So, like I said, I wish nothing but the best for the management, right? I don't wish any harm against them. Just because I'm not happy or I seek a new management doesn't mean, it happens, right? It's just natural, right? Look at how many companies in this industry have different CEOs, and it's just like not even in this industry. Like look at how many CEOs come and go in any company. So, there's different phases, there are different stages of growth, and different CEOs for different things. And I think we're getting to that point where I don't know, maybe change is needed, but at this point, like I don't think that like we need it. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's here nor there. I can't tell you anymore unless I see the actions. I can't. I told you I met with them. I talked to them. They gave me some reassurance through words. That's great. I really appreciated that. and I wish all the best for them. And I know I don't wish any harm against anybody at Tilray, right? But I need actions to follow up the words. That's all. If I see actions, if I see tons of great, outcomes, then, I'll want to interview Tilray every week, every month, I'll want to invest even more money into it. But like I said, I need actions. Yeah, definitely be doing charts and everything, right? Like I'll still be analyzing. I still own the stock, so I still kind of want to know what's going on, and then yeah, following the news and everything. But at this point, there's only one news catalyst, or if not that, then something better. If it's not rescheduling to Schedule 3, like there's no news that can really change anything, right? That's going to be, it's that or really nothing. Like, I can't see what it would be. If we go to $1, that's like $10 pre-split. Yikes, yeah, that'd be like $200 million market cap, which is pretty much impossible. That'd be lower than their cash position. So I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense. No hope for Tilray if we go back down to $1. Well, again, just like Cron, it's like, their market cap is worth their cash position. Evan says, Rod, in all seriousness, we're all grateful for you taking the time to share your wisdom and thoughts with us. You could be keeping all these thoughts to yourself, but you're sharing selflessly. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yeah, like I just hung out with my daughter for like 2 hours, but my partner just got home from work and she's helping put the baby to bed, and I didn't do my video today and I wanted to do it and she let me do it. I could be spending my time with my family right now, and I didn't even expect to go this long. I was thinking maybe like 30 to 45 minutes, and here we are. We're almost at an hour and 30 minutes. So by the time I wrap this up, it's probably going to be an hour and a half. So, yeah, I just, there's been like zero trolls in here, so that's great. But, to anybody who's listening to me, and it's only like 1% of people, so there might be like, 6 people that I'm talking to here, a dozen at the most. Like, why are you shitting on me? Why are you sending threats to me? Why are you saying, I'm whining? Why are you saying I'm overreacting when literally 99% of people listening to my voice agree with me? If you ask Tillray, I bet you they'd agree with me. Right? So, it just, and if you don't like the whining, and if you don't like what I have to say or how I say it or when I say it, why are you tuning in? Like, I can understand if I was making you if I was forcing you, if I was making you watch this content, but I'm not. So, and like, it's just so many people have so many opinions, and they come in and they just, it's the show is all about them all of a sudden. And, if that's the case, then maybe you got something that you need to create on your own, right? Like, of course, like I see people all the time talk about how they hate this politician and this party and whatever. Well, start a YouTube channel about bashing how much you hate that party. I bet you a lot of people would tune in. I'm actually not even kidding. Like, there'd be a lot, right? And you'd find like-minded individuals, right? You'd talk to people who want to listen. That's one thing my dad told me when I was very young, is speak to those that want to be spoken to. And then, like, that is so profound, right? And so, like, true. Like, if you're talking to somebody about crypto and they friggin' hate crypto, what's the point? You're just wasting your breath and time and energy, and you're probably just going to piss them off, and then you're going to get pissed off, right? So thank you very much, Evan. I appreciate it. December 12th, Supreme case could be actually interesting. Yeah, I think it's the 15th, actually. See what comes of it. And I think that's the decision to take up the case, and then I think it would be in January. So we're probably into March, April, right, by that point. What are we and it's litigation, right? So it could be years. What are we dropping at 20% a day now? My 5,000 shares turned into 500 overnight. That sucks. Yeah, we have to look at, too, Chris, like at the value of your investment. So those shares that you own, it's irrelevant how many you own. It's still worth the same amount of money, even though it's down today. You factor in that 20%, but it's still worth the same amount of money if it It was down 20% with the original shares versus 20% with the new shares, right? Intrinsic value, your net asset value. I'm a VFF investor, me as well. So I get where your frustration is coming from. Hang in there, my friend. Today is today, tomorrow is tomorrow. And yeah, like VFF was just at 40 cents. I remember buying it at 40, 50 cents. And here we are at $4. So my investment's up 10x. I actually took my initial investment out of those buys at 40, 50 cents. So it's not all doom and gloom here, folks. And, I own a lot of other MJ companies as well. Look at Canara Biotech. That one's a great performer. I've got Oxley, got a very low average there in the cents. And that thing's sitting at 15 cents. I bought a lot at a penny and 2 pennies, and it's sitting at 15 cents today. So there's lots of opportunity out there, but you have to think, like, Oxley was actually at a penny. At least Tilray didn't go to a penny, but, relatively speaking, in terms of percentage drawdown, it's around the same. Like, Oxley was at $1 or whatever it was, $1.30, and then dropped down to a penny, right? So it lost like 99% of its value. Tilray was at 300 and dropped to 35 cents, it lost 99% of its value. So it's basically the same as it being at $1 or $2 and going to a penny. But again, there's lots of opportunity out there, and this sector is far from dead. It's just getting started. I'm stuck in 4 reverse splits already, all of them super slow bleeding and net will never recover. I'm jumping ship tomorrow in Tilray. Don't want the long drama and anxiety that goes with it, Paul says. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Paul, and I don't blame you one bit. It's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? And fool me thrice, no way, Jose. So that's the sayings, and I don't blame you. And reverse splits are never good, but I do think that it's a little unfair because, it's only the U.S. names, right? Look at Oxley. It's only on the TSX. Doesn't have to worry about it. Look at the U.S. names, the MSOs. They can't list on the U.S. major exchanges, so they don't have to talk about that. So that fuels the narratives that LPs are way worse than MSOs. But MSOs don't have to worry about that. Therefore, the negative publicity and reactions don't happen. But they will eventually. They will be on there eventually, and they will have to worry about that. And we can't forget the lessons that we learned in Canadian MJ when the U.S. goes through it, because they're already going through a lot of the similar issues with price compression, illicit market, competition, oversaturation, struggling to profit. Look at today. Curaleaf just bought a bunch of assets from the cannabis. Cannabis can't win at home. You can't win at home. How are you going to win anywhere else, right? Imagine if Tilray started getting into Canadian provinces or countries. That'd be bad. That'd look real bad, wouldn't it? But no, they're growing their portfolio, they're growing their footprint, and they're just barely hitting profitability. So the trajectory is on the right path. Could it be a better trajectory? Could we be on a better path? Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is we're still steering the ship in the right direction, I think. It's just, could we have somebody steering the ship better? Possibly. Could they come in? Could the successor come in and steer the ship even worse? That's possible too, right? Careful what you wish for. No one knows. But at the end of the day, it's also not cool for somebody to get threats and threats and threats and threats after threats, right? So eventually, something's got to give. So we'll see what happens here. All right, going to wrap it up. Sounds like I need to learn how to short sell. Yeah, it's pretty easy, actually. A lot of times you have to get your broker to... I think there might be like something you have to sign, and then they have to enable your account. But then there's different platforms, like I won't get into the different platforms names right here, but there's different platforms where you can do it like right off the jump, and then just all kinds of different ways. Especially with crypto. Crypto, you can short pretty much anything these days very easily. Sounds like I need to already read that. Paul, that's why I sold 75%. I agree to invest because of the previous news. Trump saying soon on MJ reform, they have changed a lot. I cannot justify myself to hold all stocks I bought. Yeah, I mean, I would just say, Stefan, just if you're reliant on the government changing or doing something, I just don't know if that's a great way to go about it, because it's really slow moving in turtle speed, right? And I'm kind of the opposite. My long-term account, I won't sell until the U.S. legalizes at the federal level. So I'm holding that. It's a lot less money, but I'm holding it for many, many years, right? Maybe even another 5, 10 years if I have to. But my catalyst and reason to sell is because the U.S. legalizes. Yours is you're selling because the U.S. isn't doing anything. So it's like the complete opposite, right? But the reality is the U.S. government hasn't done anything ever with regards to MJ. They did the Farm Bill, and then now they're piecemealing that back again, and they're just Band-Aid fixing it. And again, if you haven't watched my video from yesterday, the most important MJ and crypto video you'll ever watch, watch it. I just posted it yesterday. It will explain why they want to create all this confusion. That's why they did the Farm Bill. That's why they left everything in limbo and purgatory. And they said, oh, we'll extend the Farm Bill out a year. And then they banned the hemp ban, and they're in the shutdown and the intoxicating hemp. They want all this confusion because it helps the incumbents. It slows the industry down, right? They don't want... It's like why they sued Ripple and XRP they deemed as securities, because XRP it passed Ethereum in market cap, number 2. It was right there in Bitcoin. It was right neck on neck with Bitcoin. And then they removed the Korean exchanges from coin market cap because it was getting too close, right? So they removed that. And then like a day before Christmas or 2 days before Christmas, the SEC sued Ripple and alleged that XRP in and of itself was a security. We found out that the judge ruled that in and of itself XRP wasn't a security, and they wanted to actually give Ripple back half of the adjudicated fine. They were seeking like $2 billion, and they only got $125 million, and they were trying to give them back half. they were trying to like, here's another 75 back, and the judge is like, no, I already made a ruling. We're gonna charge them 125. It's like, well, no, I'll give them their 75 million back. The SEC says, well, why did you sue them in the first place? Well, that was the old SEC. It's like, it's just so insanely corrupt. And they want it this way. That's why they want it. So to base your selling thesis or plan or strategy off the government inaction, if that's the case, why would you even enter in the first place? Because there's been no action. So if your thesis to sell and your trigger to sell is government inaction, well, then you should never have bought in the first place, because there's just never been any action at all, right? At the federal level anyway. At state level, there's been tons, right? They say there's no medical value, but yet 40 plus states have legalized for medical. Like, you could not talk more stupidity. Like, it just hurts the brain, like brain mush. And it's so frustrating. But again, it's because they're dumb and incompetent and they don't know what they're doing. No, they know exactly what they're doing. They're masters of disguise, and it's called regulatory capture 101. Protect the incumbents, slow the industry down. They know they can't kill it. Slow it down, weed out all the small operators. They come in with all the great innovations, the ideas. They come in, they swoop up all the patents, the ideas, the IP, pennies on the dollar. Corporations have all the big money to support it, to withstand the bear markets, the trials and tribulations. They'll dilute, and then they know that retail investors will be sacrificed, but the corporations, all these early seed investors, the venture capitalists, they all have warrants and non-dilutive shares, right? So it doesn't matter. We all get the shaft. That's always how it will be, and how it's been, and how it will be. So just let that, if you're in MJ and this is your first time, be happy that you learned this. Right? Because it's happened in crypto, it's happened in big tech, it's happened in electric vehicles, it's happened in AI, it's happening in every new disruptive industry. And it will continue to happen in the future disruptive industries. We know the price is dropping to $2. How can we make money on that? What is this short selling, and why is it looked down on? Short selling is, you're just betting the price is going to go down. So it keeps the market fair, right? If there's 3 things the market can do, up, down, or sideways. So it just keeps the market level and even. If all you can do is buy, well, it's a little weird. But there's some countries who are banning short selling, and I don't necessarily think we should ban short selling. Maybe naked shorts or something like that, but maybe change the rules a little bit. But I think you should still allow short selling, right? It just creates market equality, I think, at the end of the day. It's like going to a casino and saying you can only bet on red, right? It's Why? Exactly, Stefan. I hear you. You guys have assets. What you need is an executive restructuring. This at least would give your investors a restart with new ideas. I like your assets. Just think someone with new ideas could help. Yeah, and like that's. I even said that to Tillray. I was like, hey, like I've got some ideas for innovations and things like that. And obviously, you don't have to do what I say, but I can certainly give it to you and take it or leave it. But yeah, I'm also not a CPG expert. I'm also not a high tenured CEO. So, but I also think a lot of these MJ companies, they need CEOs who understand the industry. They need and it's not just a cannabis company either, right? We're into alcohol distribution, medical, hemp, wellness. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but I do think that at a certain point we need to really rely on certain consultants in the industry. If Tilray had good news on another thing on the day of the split, that would have been one thing, yet doing that before Thanksgiving just gives me a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, pretty much the same thing for me and everybody else, Paul. And then not getting an update as to why or any kind of follow-up until the day after Thanksgiving. People just, instead of being thankful, they're regretful and downright angry. And like I said, it's people's money here that we're talking about. Why do you think the media tried to hype up Tilray like it was high because of the split? Well, again, it's because the institutional investor attraction, regaining NASDAQ compliance, they shouldn't have to worry about that for a while. So the optics are better. It's not $1. It's not under $1. It doesn't have to, it's not a penny stock. Like I said, institutional investors. What else? I mean, all the other major companies have done it. So I don't think it's a huge negative. Like I said, we were already down this road. Like 6 months ago, shareholders approved it, right? 41% were against, but it was still approved. I just think the time to do it would have been then. And then we regained organic compliance, and then just out of nowhere, and we didn't even have another warning. That's what really caught me off guard, and a lot of people, I would say 99% of people, retail investors. But at the end of the day, it's not like they're the first. They won't be the last, and I don't know. I wish they would have did the 1 for 20, to be honest, because like I said, $10 turns into $7. Here we are, not far from $6. Then you're $1 away from the $5, which you say you did it in the first place. Yeah. I didn't really see too many other media companies though talking about it though. Like why it was good. Stefan says, the thing is, I got caught in the rat race, buying more Tilray, and Tilray price went up in price. Yeah, I mean, there's things called averaging up, right? And that's why I don't necessarily like that strategy either, is because everybody, oh, wait, and I'll buy when it starts to go up. And you buy it $1, you buy it $1.50, you buy it $2, and it's at $2.32, and you're like, oh, okay, we had a good earnings report, I'm going all in. And then, boom. You invest $10,000, let's say, and you're all in because of a good earnings report and the momentum, price going up, averaging up, and here we are down 70%. So, again, I'd rather just buy the lows, not worry about it. And unless something changes fundamentally, a reverse split is not something that changes the fundamentals. It's an accounting trick. It's financial wizardry, whatever you want to call it. It's just a way for these companies to avoid getting delisted. A regular stock split is just to avoid retail investors not able to buy, but now there's things called fractional ownership of shares. So before, when when Amazon was $1,000 or $2,000, they had to split it so that people could just buy one share at $100, and they're like, oh, I can't buy $1,000 or $2,000 share. I can buy 100 or 200, right? Because they just did a 10 for 1 stock split, regular stock split, but I can buy that 100 or 200, but I can't invest 1,000 or 2,000. So it puts it at a reach, but now you can buy 0.01 share of Amazon if you want, right? Because of this fractional ownership. So it's basically reverse splits or actually regular stock splits are kind of a thing of the past now, but reverse splits are now the new regular split because that helps them maintain their NASDAQ listing, and fractional ownership is really irrelevant. Actually, in terms of fractional ownership, they said they'd pay it out in cash, so there wasn't going to be any fractional ownerships with regards to reverse splits. So if there was any kind of discrepancy there, you'd get the cash. Why would the price bottom be $2? I didn't say $2. I don't think so. Rod, I watched your video about XRP. You said alt season probably soon, and you wouldn't be surprised XRP hits $12 plus. That would make the market cap 1 trillion. XRP has enough gas for that. Absolutely, yeah, I think so. Yeah, like look at the ETF, the XRP ETF from Canary, which is a very small firm, like that no one's even heard of. I bet you probably don't even know who they are now. They had 245 million in inflows in XRP in their first day of trading. Their spot XRP ETF. BlackRock's Bitcoin IBIT ETF in its first day of trading had like 100 million. So we like dwarfed the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF's first day. And that's Bitcoin and that's BlackRock. XRP has added almost $1 billion worth of inflows just in the last 11 days. And BlackRock isn't even here yet. Fidelity, Invesco, Vanguard just started to allow crypto ETFs on their platform. So imagine what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks and months. And then with Clarity Act coming, Ripple IPO probably coming in the next year or two, Swift partnership, more banks and country partnerships. And then wait till the Fortune 500 comes in. Wait till like Amazon's going to use it. Airbnb, Uber, all these companies that deal with all these different kinds of currencies and fees, they're all going to want to use crypto, right? And they're going to want to use the ones that have the highest form of regulatory clarity and compliance. And Ripple and XRP are in every back door, every room, and they were the second one next to Bitcoin. They were created before Ethereum, so they were the second one back next to Bitcoin. Early Bitcoin developers created XRP because they saw the issues with Bitcoin. Therefore, XRP was the second one, right? And it was built for payments. So what do you think these payment companies are going to want to use, right? Why do you think Visa and MasterCard are so threatened? It's because you can send millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, on XRP for a fraction of a penny. That's valuable? I would say that's valuable. Yeah. I'm still investing until MJ is federally legal. Yeah, that's pretty much my game plan as well. But again, I'm focusing 80 to 90% of my capital is going into crypto at the moment. And I've got my real estate portfolio. I've got my cash position. I've got some other miscellaneous stocks, but 90% of my focus right now is on crypto altcoins. And after that, I'm going to focus on MJ. And after that, I'll probably focus on crypto again. So, like, even if you're focusing on, like, I hear this, people say this all the time. It's like, oh, like, I made so much money off tech. Did you? Did you really? How much money did you make off NVDA? How much money did you make off Meta? How much money? And, like, you know, I've had this with people in my friends group. Like, even if you bought NVDA in April of 2025 here at 86 cents, to the all-time high, it's 148%. Oh, my God. 150%. Zcash, a crypto, in 3 months went up 1,800% in 3 months. And that was NVDA in, like, multiple years, right? Meta. Okay, let's just say you bought this thing in October of 2022 to the all-time high. It's up 800%. But how many people bought this then? And how many people put any life-changing amount of wealth into it? If you're buying Meta here, you're probably only putting $1,000 into it. Maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000. If you have a net worth of $1 million, maybe you're putting in a 5 or 6 figure. But most people aren't investing that much money into Meta, right? They're buying a couple shares. You know, who cares? You know, Doge or like Cardano in March 2020, you put $1,000 into this thing, you're half a millionaire almost. So there's a lot more upside. And then Tilray, CGC, like CGC on that big spike up there. Just in 2 months, it was up 400%, right? So there's tons of opportunity. I can't imagine being long on tech right now. Like, the time to go long on tech was, the 90s, and then again in the 2000s, after the dot-com bubble and the burst, and then into the 2001s, 2002, and then, again in 2015 or whatever. Like, it's cyclical, right? You have your bull and bear markets. I don't see the point on focusing on these big tech names right now. And that's the Mag 7, right? That every time you turn on the news, I heard a thing today about how they were justifying why NVDA is not overvalued. I'm like, oh my God. Like, you literally can't make this stuff up. It's like, but it's only trading at like 25 PE. It's like 25 times. Okay, then. I must have misheard. Yeah, maybe it was a comment from somebody else there, Fox. It might have been like a comment, and then I was answering that one. But like I said, if you say the bottom on Tilray is $2, that would mean 20 cents, right? Because you're factoring in pre-split. The market cap is now at 879 billion. Yeah, it hasn't factored that in. So it's at 879 million because it's 10 times less. So if we were to go to $2, that'd be a 73% plunge. So 879 million. And what did I say? 73? So to be times 0.27. So that would put us at 237 million market cap. I don't know. I don't know if that's like what we're at, 500 million back here at the all-time lows around 30 cents, 35 cents. I think we're at like a $500 million, so around 500 million. So to put us into the twos, you'd be in the 200 million market cap area, which again doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because they have 265 million in cash. And they don't have any net debt. Like their assets are worth more than their liabilities. So I don't think that makes any sense, to be honest. But that probably answers your question regardless. All right, I got to get going. This is way longer, probably an hour longer than I anticipated. So I'm going to jump out of here, and hopefully the Oilers are winning. 1-0 Wild. Damn it. All right, maybe I'll go tune in and they'll turn things up. All right, thanks everybody for joining. And yeah, like I said, I spoke to Tilray. I met with Irwin. I met with Barron. I met with the CFO as well, Carl Merton. And, they were very genuine. They were very, they seemed like they care a lot. I could tell that they were very rattled. Irwin even said that, he was like wondering if they could undo it. And apparently once you do a reverse split and announce it, you can't undo it, which kind of makes sense. And then apparently, like, because it was the end of the quarter, their fiscal quarter ends in November. If they didn't do it then they would have had to wait till like their next quarter in January or whatever. So again, I don't know all these intricacies. So if that's the case, then okay. But we just need to know this, and we need to know that you're not going to come on and dilute again. And super chat, thank you very much, Chef to Check. Thank you very much. Keep it up, buddy. I've learned a lot from you and the people in the comments. Yeah, and I love that too about like coming on here in the comments. Is I think people get a lot of value out of that, reading the comments and me answering. And it takes a lot of time, but no shortcuts to life either. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Wild says, thank you, Rod. Stefan says, thanks, Rod, your explanation and knowledge. I always look forward to your near daily posts and videos. Yeah. Well, like I said, who knows? Maybe I'll be making videos even 10 times more than I am now at some point soon. I would like that once life slows down a little bit. And yeah, like I said, I talked to Tilray. They apologized. They did not mean for it to blindside any of us. You know, I even said in my previous video when I was going on in my rant, I said, you know, I think at the very least we need an apology. And it's not like an apology fixes everything. But like I said, the first step to admitting you have a problem, the first step to fixing a problem is admitting you have one. So if, you know, they said, you know, they gave their apology. They said they apologized for blindsiding anybody, myself or anybody else who was a retail investor in the community. And, you know, a lot was learned. And that's that. I mean, there was a bunch of we had a pretty long meeting, so there was no other real like bombshells or anything like that. You know, nothing that, you know, I'm not hiding or anything like that. It's just, you know, it's great that they met with me and all hands on deck kind of thing. And it wasn't like they ghosted me for a week like all these other companies do, or like forever. And, you know, they followed through and they met with me, and I was pretty extreme in my original communication to them on Friday. I thought it might have pissed them off a little bit. I was like, oh, maybe I went a little too extreme there, but you know, again, it's not because of my money that I'm down or whatever that I'm so upset. It's because I care about my community and I care about my people and I care about doing the right thing. And I just didn't feel like we were treated the right way or the right thing was done. And again, no one's perfect. It's certainly not a reason to be sending death threats to somebody. There's no place for that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm going to monitor it. We'll see if they back up the words with actions, and that's all we can do from here. Like I said, I don't think anything has changed fundamentally. Business, Tilray isn't just one person. It's not two people. It's not three people. It's not 10. It's not 20. It's not 30. This is a massive company in 20 plus countries with thousands of employees, right? People come and go. And yes, corporations and businesses are usually, they start with the people. But, you know, people come and go. And people are needed for different stages. So, you know, would it suck if Tilray stepped down, Irwin stepped down? Yeah, I'd be like, oh, you know, it's the end of an era. Like, I love Irwin. You know, I think he's a great dude. He's from the East Coast, from Cape Breton. I'm from PEI. We're just basically neighbors across the pond. But, you know, I'm not going to support something that I don't think is right. And I will, you know, and I said this to them and they said, no, like, I don't think you overreacted. I don't think you stepped out of line. I think you spoke your piece, and we appreciate that. We value your opinion. So I thought that was cool. I'll be completely honest with you. But again, you can talk to me until I'm blue in the face, until you're blue in the face, whatever. I will appreciate that, but I'm not going to fully believe it until I see the actions follow up as well. So anyway, end it here. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate all of the support. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be right back here. Same place. You know where to find me. And we'll do it all again tomorrow at some point. All right. Have a great night. And we'll talk to you soon.